It is the cringiest, most uncomfortable piece of tape I've seen in a long time.
Megyn Kelly is done playing nice, especially when it comes to Meghan Markle. If there was ever any doubt about how Megyn Kelly feels about Meghan Markle, let's just say she's made it crystal clear. In what felt more like a roast than a podcast, Megyn Kelly sat down with Dan Wootton. Together, they practically dedicated the entire episode to tearing Meghan Markle limb from limb. According to Kelly, Meghan was up to her usual perfectly curated life routine, but this time with an extra dash of performative vulnerability. She showed up looking makeup-free, or so she claimed, but Meghan wasn't buying it. Not for a second. While Meghan might have skipped the eyeliner, everything else screamed calculated glam. From the flawless blowout to the impeccable lighting and strategically soft angles, Kelly believed the Duchess's so-called barefaced look was anything but effortless.
And so in this podcast, Meghan does her perfectly curated life thing, but she's allegedly wearing no makeup. Meanwhile, she's got like the perfect blowout, and like she's completely camera ready.
It was, in her words, a total performance. And then came the pièce de résistance, the crying, or more accurately, the lack of it. Kelly didn't just say Meghan was acting. She basically accused her of staging a full-on tearless breakdown. Meghan, seen dabbing her eyes repeatedly throughout the podcast, seemed to be trying to tap into her emotions. But according to Kelly, there was just one big problem: no actual tears.
To take a close-up look at this. Where's the tear? There's nothing there. Look, it's an actor's trick. She just keeps wiping and wiping and wiping.
Meanwhile, Dan doubled down, noting that Meghan has been known to cry on command, even once bragging about being able to do it with a single tap to the left eye.
Where she says one tap left eye and she can make herself cry on demand. And it's a really good thing to have as an actress. But you're completely right. There were no tears there.
But on this podcast, nothing. That's not all, though. The real eye-roll moment came when Meghan and Dan talked about the time Markle launched her new episode of Confessions of a Female Founder. Dan tuned in, of course, and what she heard was, in her words, ridiculous. The guest was a British entrepreneur named Hannah Mendoza, founder of Clever Blends, a brand Meghan invested in. But here's the thing. The episode wasn't really about Mendoza at all. Instead, Dan turned the spotlight right back on herself. The entire episode quickly morphed into a love letter to Meghan's own generosity, as she detailed what it was like for her to invest in Mendoza's company. Rather than amplify the founder's journey, Meghan seemingly positioned herself as the hero of the story.
But Meghan spends the entire time talking about what it was like for her to invest in this woman, Hannah Mendoza.
All she does.
Yet again, Kelly wasn't impressed. To her, it was glaringly obvious. Meghan only invites people she's financially backed, so they can sit across from her and gush about her brilliance. It's not an interview, it's a controlled PR performance. And let's not ignore the subtle power dynamic. Meghan is Mendoza's investor, and essentially her boss. So of course the script is tight, the flattery is flowing, and the narrative is tightly managed. And the same thing was happening on Jamie's podcast. The constant praising and self-love talk was too painful for viewers to watch. According to Dan, this wasn't just cringe, it was downright manipulative, because while Jamie was busy bowing down, not once did she bring up the elephant in the room, the bullying allegations.
Not one question, Meghan, about what about these bullying?
That's right, not one question about the former royal staffers who accused Meghan of creating a toxic work environment. You see, just as Meghan Markle geared up to drop her Netflix project With Love, Meghan in 2025, the ghosts of her royal past are clawing their way back to the surface. And leading the charge was none other than Jason Knopf, the former palace aide who once accused her of bullying staff during her time as a working royal.
It does actually tell us a lot, because this guy, Jason Knopf, now however it's pronounced, he was the person who filed the complaint back in 2018, alleging that Meghan was bullying people behind the scenes in the palace.
Knopf, who served as communications secretary for Meghan and Harry before things went nuclear, made a rare appearance on 60 Minutes Australia. And he wasn't just there for royal chit-chat. When pressed on whether he regrets making the allegations public, Knopf didn't flinch. Of course, this wasn't some rogue PR move. According to insiders, Knopf wouldn't have gone anywhere near that interview without getting the green light from Prince William himself.
Appointed Jason Knopf, a former royal aide who accused Meghan Markle of bullying. He's appointed this dude as the CEO of his green charity, the Earthshot Prize.
Why? Because the two still work closely together on the Earthshot Awards. Knopf is very much Team Cambridge. That means anything he says, especially something this explosive, isn't just his opinion. It's calculated, it's vetted, and it's probably got William's fingerprints all over it. So what does this all mean? Well, once dubbed Meghan Markle's behind-the-scenes knight in shining armor, Jason Knopf was the man who stood between her and the British press sharks in 2016. Back when the world first found out that Prince Harry was dating a glamorous American actress, it was Knopf, her palace communications chief, who sprang into action. He shielded her from tabloid attacks, smoothed over headlines, and worked tirelessly to shape her royal image. Meghan was the palace's rising star, and Knopf, her quiet fixer. But then the honeymoon ended. Just 5 months after those Windsor Castle vows, Knopf dropped a nuclear email that would rock the monarchy and shatter Meghan's squeaky clean image. In a stunning twist, Knopf accused the Duchess of Sussex of bullying palace staff. The allegations were terrible. He wrote to Prince William's private secretary, Simon Case, saying Meghan had created very serious problems behind closed doors. According to him, 2 aides had been driven out of the household entirely by her alleged behavior.
In October 2018, Jason sent an email to Samantha Cohen explaining that 2 employees had been bullied into quitting by Meghan through unacceptable behavior.
And it gets worse. The Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights, Knopf reportedly wrote. He claimed Meghan wasn't just difficult, she was deliberately undermining her team, chipping away at their confidence, and leaving a trail of devastation.
One anonymous staffer told Jason that her interactions with Meghan made her feel sick, while another mystery staffer told him, "I can't stop shaking, and I feel terrified."
We have report after report, he added, suggesting there was an entire paper trail of chaos. And what's even more shocking is that Knopf admitted it seemed entirely possible that Meghan would eventually turn on him too. That's when he walked and resigned just 1 month after sending that scathing email. But of course, things changed, and he didn't leave the royal inner circle. He landed right back in the fold, this time with Prince William and Princess Kate as a special advisor and CEO of the Royal Foundation. But just as the royal drama took a turn behind palace doors, the commentary outside got even more brutal, because that's when Megyn Kelly dropped her own version of a royal bombshell. Kelly claimed Meghan didn't marry for love. No, she says Meghan calculated her royal climb. She married for money, Meghan alleged, and just when you thought she couldn't crank it up further, Kelly brought receipts. She claimed she knows someone who knows Meghan's ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, and according to this mystery source, Meghan had a vision board with Prince Harry on it long before the two ever met. Apparently, Meghan literally manifested her royal title years in advance. And then came the part Megyn Kelly couldn't ignore, the moment Jamie asked Meghan if she'd stay with Prince Harry forever. This may sound like an innocent question, but the way Meghan reacted was just too off. According to Kelly, Meghan's voice jumped 2 octaves higher as she squeaked out a suspicious little, "Yes."
Prince Harry forever. Will you be married to him forever? And her voice goes up 2 octaves and she says, "Yes."
Why is it suspicious though? Well, word on the street is that Meghan Markle is already shopping for a post-divorce memoir. This isn't just some tabloid fever dream. Even Vanity Fair confirmed it in their latest no-nonsense deep dive into Meghan's current Hollywood chapter. According to longtime royal watchers, Meghan has been quietly floating her big breakup book idea to publishers for a while now, while her team may keep insisting all is rosy in the land of lavender fields and yoga mats. Behind the scenes, she's reportedly laying the groundwork. Now Kelly thinks the clues were right there in that seemingly innocent 90-minute fangirl fest with Jamie Kern-Lima. During their sit-down, Jamie casually asked if Meghan would write another book. And Meghan, with that rehearsed softness we've come to know all too well, replied that many people had asked her about doing a memoir, but she hasn't lived enough life yet.
Meanwhile, she says, "Will you write another book?" And Meghan says, "A lot of people ask if I want to write my memoir, but I haven't lived enough life yet."
You see, Kelly thinks Meghan doesn't want to write her memoir now because right now, she'd still have to gush about Prince Harry. And that's not the kind of tea publishers are paying top dollar for. What they want, what she knows will sell, is heartbreak, betrayal, reinvention, and royal drama. In short, the divorce years. Let's not forget. Harry reportedly pulled in over $20 million for his 3-book deal. Do you think Meghan's going to let that level of payout pass her by? Not really. It's clear clear Meghan is trying her best to stay relevant and famous after leaving the royal family, and everything she has done has proved exactly that. When Meghan Markle sat down with Oprah Winfrey in that now infamous 2021 tell-all, she was lighting the entire palace on fire with it. With 13 million Brits glued to their screens, Meghan staged the ultimate reality TV-style royal rebellion. For 85 straight minutes, Meghan unspooled a tale of trauma, torment, and, of course, being silenced. She described life inside the royal palace as a near-death experience for her mental health, even confessing she had contemplated taking her own life. But just as jaws dropped over that revelation, she served up the real headline grabber: racism at the heart of the monarchy. Meghan alleged that a senior royal had speculated about the skin color of her unborn son, Archie. This one vague accusation came with a tidal wave of backlash. Many people claimed this interview was a masterclass in shock value, but also a PR gamble, and Meghan played it like a pro-clout chaser chasing her next big headline. Then came baby Lilibet. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle introduced their second child to the world, the headlines should have been glowing. A healthy baby girl, 7 pounds 11 ounces, with a name that sounded straight out of a royal fairy tale, Lilibet Diana.
The couple, as we now know, have named her Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, or Lily for short, after the royal family's nickname for the Queen, and of course to honour.
It was sweet, sentimental even. But soon, Meghan came under fire once again. Why? Well, because Lilibet wasn't just any name. It was the Queen's deeply personal childhood nickname. A name so private, so sacred, it was only ever used by those closest to Her Majesty.
I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's quite rude to Her Majesty the Queen.
Wow.
It was a very private nickname.
So when Meghan and Harry, fresh off publicly dragging the royal family, suddenly announced what they'd named their daughter, royal insiders were stunned. Behind palace doors, insiders whispered that the Queen was desperately unhappy. Piers Morgan didn't miss the opportunity to jump in, branding the name choice ironic.
I just think it's sort of quite ironic, isn't it, that you've got this couple who've been trashing the royal family and the monarchy for the last few weeks, and they've named the baby after.
It was a sharp jab at a couple who had spent weeks airing the royal family's dirty laundry on global television, but Meghan's move was classic. Spin a scandal into sentiment. Position yourself as the loving granddaughter-in-law while continuing to build a brand. Because while the couple was appearing less in the British press, make no mistake, they weren't disappearing. By September 2021, Meghan Markle had already built herself a reputation for carefully crafted appearances, but nothing quite screamed PR misfire like her trip to Harlem's PS 123 Mahalia Jackson School. You see, Meghan and Harry were in New York, supposedly on a mission of compassion, visiting underprivileged children in one of the city's toughest areas. But Meghan ditched her usual relaxed California chic and rolled up in full royal luxe, head-to-toe designer. We're talking about a $7,080 outfit, a $4,890 Loro Piana burgundy cashmere coat, $1,650 matching trousers, and the cherry red $540 Manolo Blahnik stilettos. And just so we're clear, this wasn't a stroll down Fifth Avenue. This was a school where 94% of students qualify for free meals. Critics just weren't having it. The whole world wondered, who shows up to talk about education equity while dripping in couture? By this point, 65% of the British public already viewed Meghan negatively, a number that, spoiler alert, hasn't budged since. It was clear, people had made up their minds. The outfit didn't tank her popularity, it just confirmed what many already suspected, that behind the talk of empathy and equity was someone obsessed with aesthetics. Then came December 2022. Just when things seemed to quiet down, Netflix dropped Harry and Meghan. And if Meghan thought the royal family was going to be the only target, she was wrong. Because this docuseries didn't just rehash their royal exit, it reignited the public's fury. Touted as a raw, vulnerable glimpse into the couple's truth, the series quickly devolved into what many critics called a 6-hour therapy session with a camera crew. But it was one moment in particular that sent viewers into a collective cringe. There was a scene where Meghan, giggling, performed an over-the-top curtsy to mimic the moment she first met Queen Elizabeth II. Sitting beside her, Prince Harry looked like he wanted the couch to swallow him whole.
Pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty.
The backlash was fierce, all right, but Meghan wasn't done pushing. In her latest Netflix venture, With Love, Meghan, she decided to turn up the royal branding even further. Now starring in her own glossy lifestyle meets cooking show, she took a moment to correct none other than Mindy Kaling. What was her crime? She dared to refer to a friend by the name the world actually knows her by, Meghan Markle. "It's so funny that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now," Meghan said. Royal experts were quick to clap back, with photographer Arthur Edwards saying what most people were already thinking. Without marrying Harry, she'd probably still be on Suits or doing Hallmark Christmas specials. But this isn't just about names. For someone who supposedly ran from the spotlight of royalty, Meghan seems awfully eager to drape herself in royal silk when it suits her personal empire.